Warning, this show contains adult language, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. If you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. Episode 223, Resilient Living versus Technology. Background noise, guys, is my mobile studio, my mobile recording in my truck. But I wanted to talk about what today's theme came from is a few things. There's that pipeline disruption that got hacked, it looks like. It's causing, I didn't know, because I don't really watch the news, but a client of mine is really freaked out that we're not going to be able to get materials. We're going to get just a disruption in the supply chain. And it's not the first time. We've been having a disruption in the supply chain for a while now. And I think that there's a battle here, two ways that this can go. One is that the coronavirus, without technology, we kind of got screwed. A lot of people, businesses got shut down because of the lack of employees, being sick, having to work in close proximity and things like that. So in a way, technology can help us out in those regards. But what I really like to talk about today is the hacking. The technology can help us, but that's, of course, if it doesn't get hacked like it did. We also have, a hospital? That entire chain of hospitals, from what I've heard. I didn't really have time to look into it. I don't really care. I'm looking more for solutions and things like that. But what we have, I guess, is an entire hospital facility having to go back to paper the old way, which sometimes I think they should always have a backup anyways. We talk a lot about survival, preparedness, and things like that on this show. And I think that a lot of those things should be, has anybody ever thought that if lives are on the line, if your life is on the line with your homestead or your city-stead, as we like to say on the show, everything about you, all your bank information, everything, don't you think that you might want to back stuff up? Do you truly 100% believe in the cloud storage and the internet and stuff like that? I think if you do, you might want to take a look around you and see what's going on right now. I think the craziest, the first one that I heard was that there's a town in Florida. I've got it down here. It's called Oldsmar, Florida. I guess it got hacked, and there was 100 times more of a certain chemical in there that could be lethal and deadly to people. I guess they just so happened to find it this is the water municipal place where they. I can't find my words this morning. It's way too early. I've been up since 4. The water department gives you your drinking water. They found it was contaminated. They found that they got hacked. They had to notify the public, and completely dump out their water or fix the issue there before people died or got sick. So this is some pretty serious stuff. Like when it comes down to the water, it's not like your bank account went out or something, or there's no more oil, there's no more water, or there's poison in your water. You wake up in the morning, to drink a cup of coffee, and look it, you're gone. This is no laughing matter. I mean, this is crazy stuff. So this is where today's theme has come from, and I want to talk on a few things. It was just so happened yesterday there was a guy in Rite Aid, and I was waiting in line to behind him, and Rite Aid pharmacy, and he was asking the lady to do his card, and he's just like, "I'm just not good with technology. I'm sorry." She's like, "No problem, sir." And I look at the amount of people. I'm included in this group, but we're not too technically savvy. And I see us kind of falling behind. And to get into, because I'm so far behind, it boggles my mind. It frustrates me. I get literally pissed off where I'll take my laptop and want to throw it across the room. It's horrible. I think that there's an equilibrium where a lot of us should start working to understand these things, understand computers and how everything works, the technological world. But I also would like to invite people from the technological world to understand us cowboys, and cowgirls, that, us hill people, basically, that, all that food and stuff that you've got that you like, that a lot of people say I use my brains, not my bronze. I like to do an equal part of that. Funny that a lot of people say I use my brains, don't really have the bronze because they're not very healthy. The majority of them, not all of them. But yeah, I'd invite people in the technological world that maybe might want to consider all the money you make, all the technological advancements that you make and things that you create is no good if you can't get the food delivered to your front door, right? Do you know how to grow this shit? Do you understand the way things, the interactions of nature, the way things are going to roll, that you'll have good years, bad years, you know? I think that the tone would change. But I think equally that there's sort of like an invisible war here with technology versus nature. And I see a lot of people wanting to rape nature, you know, and I see nature, it's nature's nature, it's its own technology. If you don't think it is, once you start getting into it, you'll flip it the fuck out, man. What plants talk about? Just check that show out. Check out this documentary, how a tobacco plant can literally change its flower structure within 24 hours. Like, you'll be walking by it one day, come by the next and go, that doesn't look like the same flower, it's not the same plant. I mean, there's some really crazy stuff that happens. But anyhow, I think that there should be an equilibrium here, and I think as of present right now, giving it the amount of thought that I have in my monkey brain, I almost think that the natural way, the natural technology is probably more important than the scientific technology, like robots and AI and computer systems and everything like that. Because when it comes down to the end of the day, we all need to be fed, we all need clean drinking water, and I think because of a lot of these technological advancements, the way they're applied to our lives, the way it's affecting our lives, we're actually polluting the very water that we drink. I mean, think about it. Like, if you were an alien and you landed here and you were like, okay, so what goes on here, you know? And you're like, oh, you guys grow your own food, that's cool. Oh, you spray it with a bunch of chemicals and it kills everything. Kills all the bugs, everything, even good bugs. Yeah, we have to, you know, we have to do this at large scale. We got to feed people, man. Come on. Don't be judging me, you know? Fucking green-ass motherfucker. But if you looked at it, he also looked and says, well, all right, we were going to kill you anyways, but now we're definitely, but tell me more, you know? And so you mean to tell me your water systems, you guys have polluted your entire water systems where hardly anywhere in the world it's safe to actually just drink the water from the ground, you know, from a stream or a lake or a river. That's interesting. So what do you guys do? Well, we treat our poop water. We pee and we shit down a toilet, and then we treat that to save water and the environment, and we drink our own shit and urine. You know, of course, it's not directly shit urine. It's treated and everything, and you know, there's also these people's medications and other things that they dump down the toilets, chemicals and things like that. That parts per millions. We sort that out, all of it. Well, to the best that we can. You know, there's you know. So you mean that there's possibly small increments of birth control that men are drinking in their drinking water that don't get past the, you know, the micron, the filtration systems, and there's blood pressure medications, anxiety medications, psychological medications, paint. So you got a system that gets all this out, right? Well, I said kinda. And it's so powerful that I notice it changes the gender of fish on your shorelines to all male. They can't breed just by the use of sunblock. That's interesting. Well, you know, so the list, you listen to this kind of stuff and you look at this stuff for reality. And therefore, that's where I come to the conclusion that I think that the natural technology far supersedes the technological advancements that we're making. I really think, guys, that this world is a consuming monster, and that there's no stopping it, and that we should live by example and do the things that we do, such as the practices of permaculture and natural farming and things like that, biodegradable container gardening, figuring out ways so that we can at least influence as many people as we can. But it's pretty crazy. Let me just finish with some more. I went into a hotel room, and I was working in Los Angeles last year, Christmas time. I got in there like 7, 8 o'clock. I'm beat up. I just did a 14-hour day. And I get there, and the computers were down. This is at Extended Stay America. And they could not check me into my room. I says, well, why don't we just write it down on paper? You know, I had a hot dinner and everything ready, my laundry. And they're like, we just can't do it. You got to have to find some other place. We can't even issue you a key because the computer's down. So these are the things that I'm looking at. If you really think about it, it's ridiculous. And I guess this hacking thing is supposed to be, it's a threat. And they're threatening to do a heck of a lot more. And I think that we should in order to like, what lessons do we have that we can learn from these situations? And I think that one of the most powerful things that we need to do is move from consumer to producer. And I'm going to say that through the lifetime, I think, of this show is like, if you've got your own well water, you've got your own, that's if you're able to collect water from the air, which you can. It's called it's got a water condensation thing. It's what the heck is it called? A water generator. And basically, what it does is it sucks water from the air anywhere, and it goes through a copper coil. Yes, it does take electricity, but you can literally pull like a gallon, 2 gallons, or 3 gallons of water out of the air per day. So having one of those, to me, a water generator, it would be very important. If you live in a place where it rains, it doesn't get more pure than rainwater. If you're able to produce your own energy through solar panels and stuff like that, we had a complete blackout. If you're able to produce most of your own food, I think it's very difficult to produce all your own food. But if you're able to produce your own biodiesel, which I've ran in my trucks, my diesel pickup trucks, if you're able to do so many of these different things, then you would be less affected by what's happening around in the world. And I think that should definitely be taken in consideration. Moving from consumer to producer. And I think that there's a lot of practices. I know that it's like a lot of people think, well, you have to go down out of the city and buy hundreds of acres. No, there's still a lot of things that we can do. You just have to be creative. There's a lot of ideas that I give in this show of utilizing community, which makes it even easier for people. If everybody's producing different things, everybody's got each other's backs. I said earlier on one of the shows when the whole COVID thing happened, if somebody gets sick, if you had a group of 20 people that, in your neighborhood, all living in their own homes, that people could back up each other, right? In my old church I used to go to, they would give money and put it on the table, a quarter, $1, whatever, and then they would pick a family that needs it, and they would give it to that family, to survive, to get them going, especially newlyweds or something, or maybe somebody got sick or had cancer or something happened. So building community and things like that, I think that's the technological advancements that we need to start focusing on. I think all these computers and cell phones and all this fancy stuff is really cool, and I think it has its place in regenerative living and resiliency, sustainable living. But I think the underlying area is you got to have something you're able to produce. I think that these technological advancements are ways to organize things, mathematically equate things like that. And even they got farm bots and stuff like that. But, like I said, if things get hacked, they get hacked. You can't hack really the human brain to an extent. I think the rat race has been affected a little bit by public education and certain other sectors of public psychologically dominant domains, let's just say, enterprises. And so it can be hacked to a degree, but I think once you see the freedom and once you see the sense in sustainable, resilient living, it's something that really can't be hacked. It's something that just keeps going and going and going, and that is perpetual motion. That is investing in something where it's not affected by inflation and things like that. The only inflation is that I've got so many damn seeds, I don't know what the fuck to do with them. I need to give them to somebody. Get them out of my house, out of here, right? You have so much surplus that you're able to share. It just becomes wildly abundant. And I do believe that would be the way for us to have peace on earth if a lot of people grew their own food, produced a lot of their own energy, a lot of their own goods, moved from consumers to producers. And then it would literally mean that the dollar wouldn't really be needed that much because there's human contact, human connection. That's the show, guys. If I brought you guys any value, please like and subscribe, review, give me a thumbs up, middle finger, or a thumbs down. I'm just happy to hear from you either way. If you guys like this thing, it's Up and In It, or message me at upandinitshow@gmail.com. Let me know if there's something you guys want to hear about. One last thing, too. I've said this before. We're on episode, 223? We put out a lot out there. And if the show ever starts to take momentum, I was thinking about getting sponsored by the listeners. So that way I can say whatever the fuck I want, not have to worry about pissing off any advertisers or what is these people, they do sponsors and stuff like that, because then they get to say so of how the show goes or what. Like, I wonder if that would be something that would be of interest to people. I know I've got to bring more value and I'm working on that, but Just a thought. Let me know what you think about that. Email me at upandinitshow@gmail.com. So it's Up and In It on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and anywhere where you guys can find the podcast. I started doing some sort of like podcast walks. I do my cardio every morning, so the mornings I'm really feeling up to it. I actually get my camera and just start talking while I'm doing my exercises and take you guys on in Sunnyside, California. If you guys want to see like certain parks and beaches, I try to go to a different spot every time. And I just walk for like 30 minutes or so, and I video record and just talk about life, talk about things that we do on this podcast. So there's stuff there on Instagram TV that you won't find anywhere else. So with that, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.